Hello, folks, and welcome along to another episode of the Hunger for the Hustle podcast. We are into episode 63, and I am joined this morning by a great friend of mine and actually my second guest from Sweden. Michael Henell, otherwise known as Magic Herb, is a great friend of mine, as I said, a fellow entrepreneur and a man who really understands the power and importance of investing in himself. Owner and operator of Magic Herd Limited, Mr. Michael Henell. Welcome to the show. How are you, buddy?
Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Jake. I'm fine. I'm great and grateful, It's really important to be here on the Hunger for the Hustle podcast. I've been following it since Les name dropped it. So good times.
Yeah, good times indeed. And what a journey we've been on in the past few months. Life is a journey, and I know you've been on one, as we all have, Michael. And I know, and I'm going to get into it pretty quickly here because I think it will surprise the audience, perhaps some of them, to learn that you had your struggles in life and you did deal with severe addiction, alcoholism, but you broke free from that. And now, you're harnessing gratitude, positivity, and love, not just within yourself, but outwardly to the people around you on a daily basis. I'd love to know, how that kind of came to be, this journey from, at one time you're an alcoholic, right? For want of a better word, there's no way to dress that up. But now, you're a father, you're an entrepreneur, you work hard in your business, and you seem to be someone who's just completely very well at peace with themselves.
Yes. You know what? I think it all started with the childhood trauma, like for so many else, with child molesting, evil stepmothers, and I moved around a lot, so I didn't have that safe space. And in the sixth grade, I got scared of life somehow. I stopped doing all the things that made me grow. And in the seventh grade, I found cannabis, and I liked it a lot. I started to use it recreationally, and I started to heal my traumas, and it was a really powerful plant. But here in Sweden, using cannabis or psychedelics is the same as shooting heroin or sniffing coke all day long. So slowly but surely, I believe I got traumatized by that as well, and society shut me out. And before I knew it, in the age of 22 somewhere, I just hanged around with the wrong people. And there was so much drug, and of course I was curious as well. I'm not going to blame it on anyone else, but it escalated, and what started with some unharmful cannabis ended up with heroin, amphetamine, pills, and in the end, alcohol. The hardest one to get rid of. So the last 10 to 12, 20, from 2006, 2007, alcohol came to be, and it's so socially accepted. So I thought I was free. I was free from addiction. I just drank some, and it was every day. But it's socially accepted. So for 12 years, I drank every day.
Wow.
It wasn't until 2018, that's recently, that's just 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. I remember it was January. I felt like trash, and I couldn't stop the drinking. I was laying on the sofa. My wife had to do everything with the kids, and I just went to the sofa. Then I was drinking and maybe do the dishes. Then I went to the sofa. Then I was drinking, do the dishes. I tried to get help from what's it called?
Like the support, the Samaritans,
like the hospital and the mental hospital and everything. But here in Sweden, you can't get any help with if you're self-medicating during. It's like a moment 22. If you're self-medicating, catch catch-22. You don't get help from society, but you need help, and it's like, so the only thing I knew of, because I went to prison a couple of times, was to get inside prison so I could get the help I needed. So I started visualizing. I started visualizing in January 2018 that I needed to go to prison. And I made a crime just next door, but they didn't lock me in. So I did the same crime again, like 1 month later, in the same apartment, a burglary. And finally, they came and took me away. So I got locked inside, and I really got my act together. I got free from the alcohol. And then I got some great help on the outside with a 12-step program, and the hemp as well. The hemp as well helped me a lot. So
yeah. What a story, and what a journey there. In that's a long time to be in that place of addiction for, and well done for finding your way out. It's really interesting to me that to Michael, that you said to me there that alcohol was the hardest one for you to kick. And then you clearly touched on the point, alcohol's, it's there, you can buy it from a store, there's nothing illegal about it. It's actually promoted and advertised to us almost on a daily basis from multiple sources. And of course, it's socially acceptable. It's seen as the thing to do to relax or often to celebrate. I've also thought it's quite weird that we actually, as humans, our way of celebrating is actually by poisoning ourselves with alcohol. People don't see alcohol as a poison, but essentially that's what it is. And that's why you get the effects you get when you drink it. You're actually just poisoning yourself. But do you think, all of those things combined, the fact that it is, available en masse, and it's legal, it is socially acceptable, do you think those are the things that made it harder for you to kick than all of the rest of it?
Yes, and the fact that you get a physical addiction to the alcohol as well. Not like cannabis and so, but of course the thing is, when it's so socially accepted, and when you lie to yourself, you're like, everyone is doing it and it's okay. And here in Sweden, like in the rest of the world, it's culture. When you meet with family, friends, everywhere, it's the alcohol. You can't escape it. You can. I did, but
it's always kind of present and around. Yeah. Which also, I guess, with more illicit drugs, they're not something you're seeing every day. It's much easier to disconnect yourself with the people that are going to be doing those things and perhaps stay away from them. Whereas, with alcohol, it's around every day, isn't it? So then, Michael, you did the 12-step program, got yourself clean, moved on from that, and then how did you come to be the owner and the operator of the business Magic Herb that you have today?
I got inspired by a friend. Now he's a friend. I didn't know him at the time, but our fathers knew each other, and I grew up with his father, a Jamaican Rastafari guy named Roy Burton. And I followed Paul Burton, his son, on Instagram and Facebook, and he was a serial cannabis hemp entrepreneur. And he tipped me with this book in one of his podcasts with Robert Kiyosaki. That's Napoleon Hill. Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah.
And I listened to that, and something inside of me happened. This was exactly 2 years ago. And from then I started thinking, what do I want to do? And we have some land, and I was thinking on the hemp, and maybe I'm gonna try and grow some hemp. It seems lucrative, but the rules seemed harsh and problematic to grow legal. But it wasn't. It was really easy. But the government, when they describe how it's going to be done, it seems like a problem 3000K. The way they typed it out, it sounds like a super hard thing to do, but it's just two things you have to do. You have to buy licensed seeds and just draw on a map where you're going to grow the hemp, and then it's done.
Oh, really? Yeah, it's very simple. The governments do have a funny way of dressing things up and using legal terms to make them look really difficult and complicated, don't they?
And then this is kind of nice. Speaking of affirmation and goal setting, I got my seeds and everything, and this was May, just before I planted the seeds. The first time was 2019, and I planted in June. But in May, I went down to this guy, Paul, and I had this journal. I still have it today. And I typed in some goals for my business. And every single one of them goals were fulfilled in half a year. Bam,
Brilliant.
just like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Nothing like that energy when you get started with a business, and the sheer amount of momentum and passion you have. It's always there, clear and present at the start. It's a fantastic thing to have. I find you have to sometimes keep it going, keep it bouncing, keep new things coming in. And I'm sure once you've achieved those first goals in that next 6 months, I bet was some more goals to follow, brother.
No, the thing is, I didn't set any new goals. I got comfortable in that, and the money was rolling in, and so I stagnated. I stalled. I went in the same direction and I knew I had this book in the back of my mind. I must set some new goals. I must set some new goals, but I didn't do it. I just went along and just did the exactly necessary stuff to get the business rolling, and I was at the same revenue for half a year, and I knew in the back of my mind I had to do some new goal setting. I have to put it in print, because then it's. But I didn't do it. It wasn't until they took the hemp this summer for marijuana and raided us that I finally decided to do the work 100%. Step out of my comfort zone and meet my fears and do the work.
And then how did you approach that? Because I know we're in, and I've got it right on cue here, we're in the same program with this wonderful program, which is created by Bob Proctor and Sandy Gallagher, and we are being taught the ways of it through our mentor John Tallarico, who's doing a great job of just, we've become this course, haven't we? And all the people that we associate within it. And I know we're going to talk about the power of OQP. I don't know if anyone knows, who's actually listening, who knows what OQP is. Please type it in the comments if you do. But let's talk about the power of OQP and the Mastermind, and how you came to that course. Actually, Michael, I'd love to know how you came to thinking of the results, because there's like maybe 80 of us in the family now, maybe even more. I haven't checked for a while in our family.
84.
Story of how they got there. Sorry.
84, I believe.
84. There you go. And everyone's got a story of how they got there, haven't they?
The thing is, it's actually because of the raid that it took all the hemp and just destroyed our business that made this all possible. Otherwise, I wouldn't have committed fully to the Les Brown stuff. I would just let it slip away. I think so. I'm not sure, but that was the way it was. And because of the raid, I actually had a step back. I started drinking for 3 consecutive days when the raid happened. This was on a Thursday. I drank Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. And then on Sunday morning around lunch, after I did my breathing exercise, I sat and reading Les Brown's book, actually, You Got to Be Hungry. And then and there, I made a commitment to live fully again, to go all in, and don't try to make up any excuses and take full responsibility of the situation and just do the best from then and there. And that's the way it just continued. And then I talked with John. Is it 3 months ago? Yeah, 3 months ago.
Yeah.
And I had an absolute amazing day. I was so pumped up. I've been down to the farm like the first time, and national television was there to interview me.
Oh, brilliant.
And this other hemp farmer here in Sweden said that he was going to give me exactly the same amount of plants that
Yeah.
they took. Uh, they were with seeds. Our were seedless, so that's
Awesome. Yeah.
quite a big difference. But nevertheless, I was pumped up, and I talked with John on the evening, and I just went all in. My my wife got I blew her mind.
I remember that. I remember that when you came in, because we joined about the same time, about 3 months ago for me as well. And I remember you saying, "I've joined this. I'm very happy, but my wife's not awfully happy with it." But how's that played out?
Yeah, but the very next day it was the other way around, because then I was uh, scared and not uncomfortable, but doubtful.
Yeah.
But then she was, but no, Michael, this is going to turn out great. You know what you're doing, and she lifted me up again, and then it's been like that back and forth, and now it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
We've even been studying the book some together, and I'm trying to talk about the teaching and the mindset, and yeah, it's great. And I don't know if that's the reason, but she's also 100% committed and engaged into the business, doing like key rings and some side stuff and the small details, the female touch of it. So it's turned out great.
I'm smiling. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, when I do the work, for some days I've been on a kind of low, and I can see the immediate change in result. It's just like that, just like that. You know the Bob Proctor, just like that, and it's so true. It's so true. Some days I've been off from the thinking into result, like 2-3 days in a row, but then immediately when I start doing the work again, the results are just coming from the outside. It's like pure magic. The contacts. Yesterday, for example, I've been pushing on taking responsibility for learning the bookmaking stuff. The paper, the economic paper stuff with the business.
It's funny you say that. I've been doing that for the past couple of days. It's a headache.
But then yesterday, let's do it right here, right now. I have to find a bank and a payment card processor. And then just like that, from a clear blue sky, a friend of ours reached out to me, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm a large shareholder in this business that's dealing hemp, and what's your problem? Do you need any help?" And I was like, "This is weird, but yeah, I need a bank and I need a card processor." No problem. Use this one and that one, and if you need any more help, just reach out to me. And that's from the group thinking into result, So
yeah, it really is. Yeah, it really is, and I'm totally with you. I've been smiling so much there because what you said at the start with your partner is going back and forth on it, and you're borrowing that belief from others sometimes, and then it particularly plays out a lot in love and intimate relationships, doesn't it? That sometimes there's parts in a relationship where you're down, and then when they're down, and it's like a revolving ball that you play between you to kind of keep you on a good level. But yeah, I've been sharing some of the stuff in here with definitely my partner and some close friends of mine as well, and kind of practicing and playing out some of the things that Bob Proctor asked us to do in there, some of the almost like mindful experiments that you can do and things you can try out and trying them out on other people. And yeah, it is like you say, it's like magic. It seems like magic, but then when you actually know how it works, and you can see in layman's terms, okay, I do this and I apply this, and therefore this is most likely or definitely going to happen, then it's kind of pulls back the curtain a bit, doesn't it? And you're like, this is magic, but actually it's just hard work, and it's how I think and feel about things and the actions I take to make sure then things happen. and of course don't happen as well. A large part of the training we've been doing is shifting your paradigms and getting rid of the bad things the bad habits you have, and the wasteful things that you do, to let room for the good habits and productive things.
It's a process.
Yeah, and I've been some days where I've been off too. That's for sure. But I think that's part of the challenge of it, and accepting that and being real about that.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too, definitely, because that is also like one of the things to change the paradigms, to meet those obstacles and smash them.
Yeah, quite frankly, yeah.
Become aware, and then when you're at the stage again, and the next guy, a process. You evolve in it.
Yeah. The learning is in the journey is something I like to wrap it up with. But the power of the mastermind, and just having that group of people that you can, are working towards the same thing, is super powerful as well, particularly in them times. There's been many times where I've jumped in that group, of course, for the wins, for the good reasons, but reached out and said, yeah, having a tough one this week, guys. And everyone's like, yeah, look, we've had one too. That was me last week. This is what I do to pull through it and to get through it. And the mastermind, some people watching might not know what we mean by the mastermind. It's actually, it's funny in the UK, because it was like a TV show once. It was like a kind of quiz show. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about when you have a set of people and they're all using their minds to work together on a collaboration or project, and they're all working towards the same point or end, or same type of points or ends. They've all got goals, desires that they're going for, and it becomes a lot more powerful when you have a set of minds connected into one mind, known as the mastermind. A lot of people think, it's hocus pocus, what we're talking about. It's like magic, it's Houdini, it's voodoo. It's not. It's just the laws of the universe. And when you understand them, and then you put them at work to make your life better and more harmonious, then that's exactly what they do. Isn't that right, my friend?
That is 100% so. And the thing I almost love the most with the mastermind is the accountability that comes with it. And because I know if I hadn't been in this, I hadn't stepped up my game the way I do, that we all hold each other accountable and kind of force ourselves to keep growing. That is so powerful.
You do, you're right. You do force it. And I think you have to force it, don't you? Because if you don't, then what you don't want will automatically take over.
Yeah.
Now, when along the journey did you discover that, I know it's you call it like I did when I found out your life's calling now, to speak and to use your voice and to use perhaps some of the things that you've experienced to help other people. Like, was there like an aha moment when you realized that?
Kinda. First of all, breaking free from the chains of alcoholism and the abundance of love and to feel again was something I wanted others to. I wanted to inspire or share the things so they can make a similar journey. And 1.5 years ago, I was at work talking with one of my colleagues, and I said, speak out loud to the universe. I would like to speak in public. I would like to speak. It scares me. It scares me the most. It's one of the things that I'm most scared of. And that was 1.5 years ago. And then I didn't think about it here and there a bit. But then Les Brown came up this summer, and I've been allowing his words for at least 2 years, and he spoke about this to engage with your voice and engage people and motivate them, and that he had this program. So I just got sucked into it, man.
Yeah, if you're anything like me, I get a little obsessed with things. I'm either so, as particularly when something new comes around, I'm just all about it. It's all I'm thinking about. I'm eating, sleeping, dreaming about it. I throw myself right into things, and I think I see you in the short time we've been connected the past few months to be someone who's very similar in that regard. You go for something wholly and completely, and then when it's done, and then it's the next thing. What's next? What's the next thing for me to get obsessed about?
No rest for the wicked.
That's right, man. That's right, for sure, for sure. Now tell me, you've had some. That's I always like to touch on challenges in business and highlighting the fact that it is a roller coaster journey. You've already told us there. You had the farm going. You're barely going 18 months there. I don't think it even was 18 months. You got raided. You got all your produce taken away, which is a nightmare situation from a business that's a business of yours is nothing without its produce. That's the main bulk of what it does. And then you bounce back from that with some help that just came to you just at the right time, as it always often does. But what other challenges have you had along the way, and how did you overcome them?
The most challenging, the most challenging part with this business is the banking and the card payment solutions, because those I've been through a couple of PayPal, for example. PayPal was the one I used first. They blocked me after 2 months, and then after PayPal blocked us, it felt like I'm on some kind of list in the payment solutions space, because after PayPal blocked us, we tried different ones, and they all shut us down in a week or 3 days and a week. And from there, it's that's the most challenging part, because the product almost sells itself. If you're just free to market yourself in a legal way, and then it's on a roll. But that thing with banking, and that's an issue for everyone. Everyone has the same problem. So
in that industry, right?
Yeah. So now that we're building on an American company now that aims to handle that solution for everyone else as well, so they can buy a service from us to get a low fee and everything, and that they will have a platform to work on, and the banking and the card processing will be solved, not for free though, but as cheap as it gets, because some of these card processors out there, they are taking 15%, some of them 30%. Yeah, 30%, because it's a high risk business. So and then you have Sweden, you have 50. What?
I'm sorry, I'm surprised it's even legal for them to take 30%. I mean, that's most businesses' profit margin, right?
Yeah, that's a crime in itself. So that is just crazy. But working with the state of California has opened some opportunities for us to go international, and then if Sweden for some reason orders, we can ship to Sweden as well. But even there's some problems, because the banking was going in the right direction until this summer in California. Mm-hmm. Then so many people started messing with the Delta 8. You know about that? Delta 8 tetrahydrocannabinol. It's like THC's brother. And you extract the CBD from the hemp, and from the CBD you do the Delta 8 THC. And so many were starting to sell this, and so they got the rules more strict, harder. Right. So we'll see. We are not done, but we are slowly and surely getting a full-time working solution that will help us, first of all, but then hopefully the rest of Sweden as well, because everyone is having the same problem.
Well, it's a movement, brother, and it's a movement that's happening all over the world. You know, we talked off camera before. I had my friend from the UK, Abby Hughes, on, who's a member and founder of Plant Ed Collective, who in the UK are big behind this movement of just making cannabis and hemp more accessible to people in the countries where it's happening, you know, in the UK, in the USA, and to people in the medical perspective as well. You know, these are the people that really need it the most. You know, remove the recreational side out of it for a minute, because let's talk about the people that actually need it as a means and an end to them living healthily and pain free and without anxiety and stress. And, you know, for children who have, you know, some of these kids have 15, 20, 30, you know, epileptic fits a day, and that just with a tincture of you know, hemp oil, cannabis oil, it can stop that for them straight away. You know, so it's ridiculous that it's not available in a controlled and safe way to people like that who need it to make their life a better place. But it is something that's changing. It's changing. It's changed a lot rapidly in America in the past, particularly the past decade, even the past maybe, you know, even 5 years. It's changed a lot. Of been there and really seen it change there and be a lot more available. And in the UK, you know, it's changing as well. I mean, it is available in the UK in a medical form now, and it's interesting to see how that plays out over here in a place like Australia. That's always a little bit, of course, geographically, it's very far removed from the other places that stuff's really changing in. Europe as well, of course, the situation's been is very different in different parts of Europe that are very close to each other, which is somewhat unusual. But I mean, there's reasons for that. But it's slower changing here in Australia. But yeah, it's a movement that needs to happen, and I'm glad it is happening, and quite proud to see it happening in the time that I'm alive, to be honest.
Yes, yeah, it's just a matter of time now. It's I believe even in Sweden, both recreational and easier medical availability will be here in 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
I don't think the Sweden government will legalize or make anything easier for the ones that need it medically, but the European Union will force Sweden to ease on its strangle grip.
Yeah, it's stranglehold. Yeah, I think you're right. I think I see. I don't know what kind of time frame, but I reckon the same here. Kind of 4 or 5 years, it'll be at least available, and it already is. Look, and my knowledge of it isn't full and complete. I know it is actually available in an oil form to some degree here in Australia, but I mean, that's quite a different product from what's available in a lot of other countries. But I think it's good to see. It's important that it happens. And of course, there's another side to it as well that's played out well in America, is that, you know, this brings in a lot of revenue for companies. And when it becomes, you know, it produces a lot of revenue, and that revenue can go to some very good causes. That, you know, people actually blame these problems on, you know, it's causing you know, mental problems at scale, and a lot of the money produced from it, I know in America, goes into projects to help you know, people with mental issues, community issues, helping all kinds of things. So there's another side to it, that it brings, once it's legalized, it brings a lot of legal revenue, instead of it having to be, you know, black market stuff where people don't know what they're getting, they don't know the quality of what they're getting, and the prices just are all over the place.
No, that's absolutely so. That's what we're talking about here in Sweden, from all sides, both the naysayers and the yes-sayers, is that fact that today in Sweden, maybe 90% of the cannabis is from criminal gangs, and there are some shootings and violence around that, with territorial wars, I guess. And just legalizing it or in some way decriminalize it and maybe make the state have some, I don't know exactly, but it would do so much good to take those money away from the hard criminal gangs to the people, or maybe to the state as well, to use those tax money as to do good, to make an impact, use the money for something good instead of like it is today. I guess I don't know, but they say that these criminals, they buy guns and they have shootouts, and occasionally some what's it called, someone one that shouldn't be affected
Yeah, someone innocent. Yeah.
get a bullet to the stomach or whatever. So it's just bringing so much pain and suffering. Totally useless. Totally useless.
It is. It is totally useless, and you're right. You know, a lot of that, a lot of, you know, that market of the world. It's obviously a multi-billion-dollar industry, and a lot of it is run by, you know, big organized crime. I think decriminalizing is a good way to do it. You know, if it's not full legalizing, it's obviously going to be a soft approach in a lot of countries, and it's going to need to be done in stages, which is understandable, of course. I think. But yeah, I don't think you'll ever completely stop that black market. I mean, look at alcohol, right? There's still people somewhere making bootleg alcohol and fake alcohol. But, you know, I think this is a good model to look at, you know, with what happened with alcohol and prohibition, and you know, people only really think that was in America. It wasn't. It was actually happening in a lot of countries, in some form or another, at some scale or another. But I think that's a good model to look at, you know, when people are and how that played out. Look, 99% of alcohol now isn't being sold by someone who's making it in their back garden or their cellar or their shed. You know, unless I'm wrong. Look, I could be wrong. I always reserve the right to be. I don't know everything about the bootleg alcohol industry, but it would appear to me that most people are buying alcohol are buying it from stores and shops, and it's legal, and the tax from that gets put back into the country and back into the GDP and the revenue of the country. So good stuff can, well, I say good stuff can happen with it. That's another the intent is there.
Yeah, we have the information already, so we can just look at this information. What is it now? Maybe 90 years ago with the prohibition. We have the facts. It's already there. It's just to apply. Just to apply it in our time here and now, and go from there. Of course, there will be some obstacles on the way, but that's why we talk together and just solve them on the way. It's we have this model here in Sweden where there's only one government-controlled company that's allowed to sell alcohol, and it works great. It holds down a lot of the damages coming from alcohol, and we could use that, for example, in the same way, but have cannabis in there, like a coffee shop / liquor store controlled by the government. They would make loads of money.
And I think, sorry, go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, but I think one of the roadblocks as well is the pharmaceutical companies. They don't want this to go to the people. They don't want the people to heal themselves and have fun for themselves. They want to have they want to monopolize all different kind of healing herbs and substances. For here in Sweden, example, we have this. What's it called now? It's for epilepsy. A mixture of 1-to-1 THC CBD, and since this summer we're going to release this medication to the market. So last summer they made extract with just tiny traces of THC, fully illegal and classed as narcotics. I believe it's all stringed together in some way. And this summer, now when we're going to release this medicine to the market, they're starting with these hemp raids and busts all over the country. And I believe it's because of them. somewhere.
Mhm.
They're trying to make a statement and scare the little man. And don't you try to do this at home, because this is what's going to happen. Look at this. Look at Michael there, and look at this guy over here.
Yeah, I think making examples of people. Yeah, I think you're right there. I think that's a big roadblock. The pharmaceutical companies. It's quite evident that they're going to lose, and if not, they already probably are losing millions, if not billions, of dollars to medicinal cannabis use, and CBD as well, and hemp as well. Of course, I mean, hemp is obviously legal everywhere, and it is used everywhere. But yeah, the other parts of the plant aren't. So I definitely think there'll be a blockage. But I mean, there's some parts of Europe where they've got it right, and they've had it right for a long time now. You look at places like Holland. I'm not too sure. I wouldn't know the full history of it, but I mean, I've been there 4 or 5 times, so it's been like that for at least 10, 15 years. And they've had it like that there for a while, where you talked about that mixture of what you said there. It's more coffee shops there, isn't it? Really, it's certainly more coffee shops where cannabis is available to purchase. But there is some bars, where you can get a beer, and there's also, cannabis available there, and they've mixed that up with like a casino or an entertainment or stuff like that. I could be wrong actually with the casino, but there's definitely like a building where you can go. It's one kind of complex, and you can have
the Netherlands,
yes, yeah,
Switzerland as well, Spain, Italy. It's all over the place, and we have some good news that came 2 days ago. There was this high court, European High Court judge, that said that if the government, this was for France. France is very much like Sweden and Slovakia as well, is super strict when it comes to the hemp and the cannabis. If we are not allowed to make this extract and sell CBD, the government needs to come up with solid proof that this is really a harmful substance, like they're trying to say right now. So it's going in the right direction.
Yeah, it is going in the right direction, and glad to see it happen, to be honest with you, Michael.
Yeah, it's so important. I believe hemp it truly is the healing of all nations. The hemp, if we put the medicinal, recreational thing aside, we have the paper, we have the plastic, we have the clothing, everything, and the industries are not like the cotton industry, for example, or like the paper industry that just destroys even our own forest here in Sweden. They're shoveling them down to make toilet paper, when we can grow hemp that yields like 40 times more than tree. If you calculate how much energy it costs to make paper from trees and paper from hemp is 40 times as cost effective. And
really, I didn't know that.
And on the same time, it eats carbon oxide, like 20 tons per acre. Not acre, we have another, like 2 acres. 20 tons of carbon oxide. What's that? Is it called like that? That harmful?
Yeah, carbon dioxide. Do you know what? I'm not too sure. Right? we take the oxygen, and they produce the oxygen, and they take our carbon dioxide, I believe.
Yeah. So and at the same time, when you grow the hemp, you make the soil more alive. So it keeps this, because when I can't explain this in English, but when you drive and pull up the earth every autumn, every spring, the climate change that we can see, it goes up at exactly that time when the Western world does this. And with the hemp, you don't need to do that as much, and you get a better planet altogether.
Yeah. I understand totally what you're saying. It's about taking that good out of the soil and removing the nitrogen rich out of the soil, and then that soil becomes less fertile, less able to grow things from it, and then they have to put it through processes to artificially put the nitrogen back in the soil. It's what's played out a lot across America with large swathes of land that are used just to produce grain to feed cattle. A lot of those lands, within the next kind of 20, 30 years are going to become a lot harder to grow on. And other places all around the world. But I didn't know that, actually. I didn't know that you get so much more yield, per weight, whatever weight you're measuring it with, kilos usually. But for hemp versus paper, it just seems backwards that they would keep just chopping all these forests down when there's a plant here that can already do it. You just wonder, don't you? Is it because they're so ingrained and these companies are so set up to log and to mill paper and to manufacture that it takes a lot to unravel that?
Yeah, and you know what? I think there are some rumors and some proof as well, but in the beginning, when cannabis and hemp got criminalized, it was very much because of the paper industry. Then together with the oil and the pharmaceutical as well. But there are some information that indicates that the paper industry was the number one that started back trash talking the hemp and the cannabis and make this racist bullshit that the marijuana and the Mexican, and started to scare the American people, and then it just spread across the world. So and it's the same today, I guess. I mean, they will be maybe pushing tons of money into lobbyism to stall the process of legalizing the hemp and use the hemp again.
It's interesting, isn't it? And look, I think we could talk about this for many hours, and perhaps we will even do a second episode where we could talk about it more, because there's a lot to be said in it, and there's a lot to be said about the fact how that play. And look, I don't know the facts, but I've read a lot of stuff, and they all talk about the same point from different sources. Some of them valuable, some of them reputable, some of them not so. But that's what happened. That's how it played out. The big newspaper owners and media outlets of the time, which at that time were the biggest in the world, when the internet wasn't around, when TV wasn't a thing, when of course radio was around, but the newspaper was everyone's go-to every day of where they got their news, perhaps to some degree entertainment, and everything like that. It was really the hub of information in that day, and that they were getting superseded, shortcut by these other papers that were starting to produce out of hemp and not paper, because they could produce it for so much cheaper. And how well positioned were these media outlets to go, okay, well, let's do a smear campaign on this stuff, being one provider of news, and that kind of, how are they going to play that out? Well, let's bring white and black and into it and things like that. But yeah, it's an interesting story, isn't it, for a whole other time.
Rupert Murdoch, I believe his name was, the one they're talking about that owned this printing press business and started smear and trash talk, started black versus white, Mexican versus, and cannabis bad, alcohol good.
Yeah. And like, what year was that? I'm thinking, you got any year what that idea?
I believe it's somewhere in the early 1930.
Yeah, I thought it was like 40s, 50s. I'm not sure.
It could be the 40s, 50s as well.
Yeah.
Because I know Henry Ford made a car out of hemp that ran on hemp alcohol hemp.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fascinating.
1912, I believe. Henry Ford had I think it was the T Ford as well, that was fully made of hemp. And
the whole book was made of hemp.
Yeah, not the
the engine stuff like that.
But the other part was made of hemp, and it ran on hemp. The motor ran on hemp bio alcohol. It's called something else. It's called something else. But they shut him down. They destroyed him directly there, and that was the oil industry. So they had something to do with that as well. So, but it all hangs together. It was this very powerful greedy men that
sent the course of history at that time really in a completely different direction, because it's completely changing. It's completely changing now, and it's changing pretty quickly, I think, and it's going to be a really welcome change to see in our lifetime.
Yeah, it's a must. It's a must for the planet and for us humans. It's so powerful, plant. So powerful.
I agree, and I think to that point that I commend you for what you do in the space of putting the message out to make people realise how important it is. Now, let's talk about the word hustle, Michael. Of course, it's integral in the title of this podcast. It was given to me, handed to me after I said it to him in a presentation I was putting together by Les Brown. It became the podcast. You know, it's becoming the book. There's all kinds of stuff happening around it now. It's really gained a life of its own, and I'm really enjoying the journey. But I'd love to know what the word hustle means to you and what drives your hunger for it.
Good question. Is it the restlessness that drives my hunger, perhaps? No, but it is the hunger today is one part is to motivate and make an impact, and the other part is to make like a legacy and a security for my family. That is the hustle. But for 10, 15 years ago, the hustle was something completely else. It was just maintaining, just to get my drugs, and it was small, very, very small. Today, it's a lot bigger. And the hustle it has like a negative touch to it in some way, the hustle. But it shouldn't be like that, because the hustle is so important. And the hunger to the hustle, the hunger as well. It's it's life super important.
It is, and I think the way that you answered that, and you said that, you know, to provide for your family, of course, for yourself in that as well, and your children, you know, I think that's a big driver for a lot of people in their hustle. You know, it's not just you're not just hustling for you and the things you want and the goals and dreams that you want to achieve, whether that be in business or your own personal life, but there's people, you know, to provide for, and that inherently just having that in your life drives that for you. Not that I have children, I must say, but I can see from you know, many close people who do that, it would clearly drive you. Now, tell me, Michael, about some goals and dreams for the business Magic Herb, and what's the aspirations? Where's it going, brother?
As it looks now, it is to restore the family farm and make a lucrative, profitable business down there, and also at the same time build like a health center, restorational center, with my coaching and other people's coaching as well. And I would like to get involved some medicine women that work with Mother Ayahuasca and Kambo and the mushrooms and such, because that's such a powerful tool. It's you know, you can go to the psychology for 2 years and get the same result that you maybe go to 2 days with the psychedelic. So I want to build something like that, but we have some legacy issues as well, so maybe I shouldn't be talking about it, but that is the goals right now.
Yeah, I think they're great, and I think I like the way that it would naturally seem to play out really well for me, that, you know, if you create a health and wellness center there, a spa or a retreat, and the services, you know, that you could offer there would tie in well with it. I look forward to seeing it happen, and I'm going to be one of your first guests from Australia when it's done. Let me tell you that.
You're more than welcome, my friend. More than welcome.
I'll look forward to it. It'll happen. Now, I'd love for you to close out with coming to the end of our time together now, and I've really enjoyed it, and I definitely think there's plenty of room for you to come on again, and we've got you know, I could talk to you for hours, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But we are coming to the end of this episode and wrapping up the hour, and I'd love for you to give 3 hot tips for anyone who's watching. You know, you've been on a hell of a journey, quite frankly, from someone who, you know, just worked for someone else and answered to their beck and call to doing your own thing in life and becoming an entrepreneur and business owner. But, you know, anyone who's watching, perhaps give them 3 hot tips on how they could get it done and you know, what you need really to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah. The things that keep me on track, first of all, is my morning routine. Wake up, meditate, deep breathe, gratitude. And then the second is the input, what you accept, what you accept into your life, the information that you want, that you take in, like movies and books and everything. And most important, shut down the news. The news is bad for business, it's bad for your health, it's bad for everything almost. And the third part would be learn how to love yourself. That's so important. And if you can't do it, find someone like I did, which will love you until you believe in it yourself, so you can be able to love yourself. That's the trick.
Love that. That third tip was definitely my favorite. The other 2 are important. Morning routine's important, and blocking out that noise is important. But yeah, I love that one. I think that's a great way to close out the show, Michael. And if anyone wants to contact you, I'm going to put the links in the comments here. So whether you're watching live now or later, guys, you can find them. But Michael, do you just want to tell the folks the best place to find you and connect with you?
The best place is to go to www.magicherb.se, and there on the bottom of the page are my contact info. Yeah, that is not unfortunately, but that's the only place I have right now. I'm building a side business, because you have to at least have 2 legs to stand on, because they can just come and take the hemp away. So, but that's another story. That's for the other podcast.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Michael, it's been great to chat with you, and it's nice to meet you. What's your name?
It's 6:30 here.
Oh no, sorry, I said sorry. It's nice to meet your son. What's his name?
Oh, Leon. He's eating on his mom's mascara.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Yeah.
Michael,
the world will know.
There you go. You are going to put that back. Michael, it's so great to spend some time with you. I've really enjoyed our time together. Thank you for giving me your time and energy. Let's dive back in sometime again soon, and we've got plenty more to talk about, that's for sure.
100% so. Thank you so much.
Thank you, folks. And if you enjoyed the episode, please share it with your friends.
That's a wrap.